Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this Friday morning. Today is the day. It's a day that we're going to have bad news. I'm just going to have to break it straight away to you. You might have seen it on social media last night, but Tony Ralston has been spotted with a moon boot on. It's devastating news for Tony. He did miss out on international football with Scotland over the international break, and he has been spotted coming out his court, by the look of it, with a moon boot on. Brendan Rodgers will be at Celtic Park today, and he's obviously going to get asked about the demonstration, and he'll just bat it to the side and say, I'm here to talk about football. Fans can have their say on whatever they want, as they rightfully will. But Brendan Rodgers will answer questions that won't have much to do with the game. The first questions will be, how are the squad and who's all fit? With Jota out injured, with Tony Ralston out injured, with Alistair Johnston out injured, and then with Austin Trusty also out injured, and Kieran Tierney pulled out of the international squad as well. So let's just hope that Kieran Tierney is fit and well, because it looks like we will be going into the game this weekend with a very, very different squad. And I'm just watching a hot air balloon passing my window. This is the most bizarre thing ever. I need to take a picture of that and put it on the... Yeah, that's mental. Anyway, we digressed. It's madness. Sorry, got totally thrown with that. I'm not deleting it out because I've only got time to edit the video. But yeah, Tony Ralston out injured. That picture will be a devastating blow to Brendan Rodgers and the Celtic squad. When we look at the squad and we look at the defenders that are fit, we have had one player in that looks like he can fill the place for Kieran Tierney, but where can Simpson Puzzi play? Can he play out where Tony Ralston and Alistair Johnston should be? What's the chances of getting two players injured for the one position? It looks like young Donovan will be stepping into the mark for that. But when does Brendan Rodgers actually speak to the media today? That's the big question that you all want answered. And it's at 1:30. Brendan Rodgers will walk into Lennoxtown from his office into the media room and sit down at around about 1:30 this afternoon into the Lions' Den. He will be asked a number of questions about the disastrous final day of the transfer window. He's had 10 days or so. 10 days. It seems to have flown by now, hasn't it? Celtic thought that they could ride the wave of the storm, and obviously going into the Europa, put out a package of Europa to try and appease the fans and give us a really competitive price, they will say. But the fans are having none of it. Straight after the meeting, we all know the history of what's happened last week, straight after the meeting with Michael Nicholson and the company lawyer, which I thought was a strange one. I've never heard of a company lawyer being in a meeting with the fans before, obviously watching what they're having to say. There's been over 420 signatories. Last night, the Celtic Disabled Fans Association also gave a vote of no confidence to the board. Not only have the North Americans, Celtic Supporters Association and fan media and supporters clubs all around the world, Brendan Rodgers will be asked about the vote of no confidence in the board by the fans. Brendan Rodgers has a fine line to play today. He has a fine line to play today. Does he come out and say, look, these are Celtic men that have Celtic's interest at heart, like he did during the transfer window? Or does he come out and say, I just want to talk about football. I want to focus on the football. I'm not answering any questions about the board. I'm not answering any questions about fan demonstrations. I'm here to talk about the game this weekend. And some people say that's a deflection. But he is the manager of the football club. He's in charge of the first team. He's in charge of the football department. And he wants to make sure that the players, for one, it looks like there isn't going to be a player put out in front of the media today, which is a big surprise. We'll wait and see. Celtic may change their tune. They might put a player out. But with the trip to Rugby Park on Sunday, Celtic will obviously be in training today. They'll be in training Saturday morning before they head off to the hotel and then get ready for the early kick-off on Sunday. I feel for Brendan going into this because he really wanted, and he came out in the media over a number of weeks saying he had trust in the board. Now, was that him playing games between the fans and the board? Was that him, or was that him giving you a warning? Was it him giving you an indirect warning? When he came out and said, look, we need to analyse this transfer window. We need to look at all the things that we've done. Everyone as a collective needs to take responsibility for failings during this window. It's not a man that's ready to walk away, and it's not a man that's trying to get his way out of the club. It is a man that is coming across, if he's genuine, and I think that he is, and I've been told that he's not going anywhere between now and the end of the season. If he leaves Celtic, he's getting pushed out the door by them upstairs. But the fans need to get behind Brendan Rodgers. The fans need to get behind the team. The last thing that we need, and I spoke about it on the live last night, is interference from certain parts of the media to try and put pressure on Brendan Rodgers to tell us what he is doing at the end of the season. We're only in the 1st of September, the first couple of weeks of September. The season's not really started. We've played 4 games in the league, and people are demanding answers about his future. That doesn't happen with any other club. Yes, other clubs around Europe, when it gets to after December and the manager's deciding that he's leaving, no manager ever tells you at the beginning of the season that he's going to leave the club. Even though it might have been discussed upstairs, it's absolutely nothing to do with anyone. They've got the full season to go. And then rightly so, when it gets to a certain point of the season, the board should maybe come out and say, look, Brendan's not staying here this year. We've started the process of bringing in the next manager. And then that's it. It's an adult way of doing things. People like Chris Sutton putting pressure on the manager yesterday in the media is completely uncalled for. You know, Ronnie Dyler came out before the end of the season. He didn't come out at the beginning of the season. Ronnie Dyler said months and months before, I'm not going to be renewing my contract. So we all accepted that, and we all enjoyed the football to the end of the season. We all enjoyed the Ronnie roar towards the end of the season. Give Brendan his due. He's working hard. He can only work with what he's got. And that's what he'll say today. I can only work with the players that I have. Whether it be the players that are injured long term. And will that have an effect on the season? Well, what it does do is let's look at the positives from this. Coming into the second half of the season, you're not going to have as many players injured. Do you know? You're not going to have Jota injured. You're not going to have Alistair Johnston injured. Trusty. You know, even if it is true that Tony Ralston is going to be out for a number of months, you're going to have him back. The squad will gel together again. You know, we'll get a good run in. Let's get to the Christmas period. Let's just get to the next international break with some solidarity between the fans and the players. And make sure that the players know that we back them 100%. We back the manager to make the right decisions on the pitch. We've seen in the latest training video that they're doing the one-touch pass attacking of football. You know, they're not training side-to-side slow football stuff. So if it happens on the pitch, Brendan Rodgers has got every right to stand at the sidelines and shout abuse at the players. Fucking move your arse. It's as simple as that. Although there is a demonstration on Sunday, the 12th man Celtic fans will enter the stand on the 12th minute, but it'll be interesting to see how many of the fans do that. Not everyone will do it. There will be Celtic fans that will go into the stand, and we get that. And, you know, it's their right to go into the stand and back the team from the very first minute. But there will hopefully be a big chunk of fans that will stay out, and then when they come in, they'll make as much noise as possible to the very last minute to push this team over the line, to let the players know that we back them 100%. And that's the way forward. Once we enter the stand, the team will receive ferocious backing. Make some noise for the boys, lads. In other Celtic news, there's not a lot going around. All eyes will be on Brendan Rodgers this afternoon. It's going to be an interesting time. We will go live later on to discuss amongst ourselves about the comments that Brendan Rodgers has made, to analyse the comments that Brendan has made, and to see his reaction to the questions that he will be given. It's absolutely mental that we've allowed another team that's sitting in 7th position, or whatever they're sitting in, to have a free rein over this international break. The pressure should have been mounting on them and their manager. It was mounting on them and their manager before the international break, before the end of the transfer window, and we've given them a free rein in the media. We need to turn that around slightly by a good performance on the pitch, by keeping winning, by showing our dominance of Scottish football. Yes, we've had 25 years of dominance in Scottish football. Yes, it's the same people on the board that have had 25 years of good Celtic, but they've also had periods over the 25 years where they have managed decline, where they have brought in the likes of Ronnie Dyler, reduced the wage bill, managed to just keep on winning, but not get into the Champions League, not qualify for the Champions League, not invest in players at the right time before qualifying. There's a repeat, rinse and repeat. And this is what has led to the action by Celtic fans at this moment. Not what happened in Kazakhstan, not what happened in the transfer window. The fact that this has been a continuation of this board's ultimate negligence at the right moments. And if I always said we'd see this window, you can say that this window has been a window of managed decline. We've got a lot of high-paying players off the wage bill. A lot of high-paying players off the wage bill. 15 grand and upwards a week. Quite a few of them have disappeared. Reducing the wage bill. Increase that little bit of profitability. Okay, we've lost the money for the Champions League, but, you know, we've sold a good few players and we've come out the window in profit. Does it sound familiar? Have a great day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.